everyone, what's up? My name is Joss and welcome back to my channel, Squibblesreads. So today I thought I would sit down and just do a really quick little video. I just posted a poll on Twitter like an hour ago asking you guys what you wanted to see, an end of the year TBR or the end of the year tag, and you guys picked the end of the year TBR. So I'm just gonna let you guys know what some of the books are that I plan on getting to before the end of the year. Some of these books I'm in the middle of, and some of them are books that I definitely want to finish before the new year starts. This is going to be different from my December TBR because I think by the time we get to December, I might have a few more books that I will put on my TBR for that month. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get into the books. The first book that I'm definitely going to read before the end of the year is the December pick for the Storytime with Squibbles book club, which is the book club that I started primarily on Goodreads, and we focus on books by marginalized authors that are written about marginalized characters. If you guys do want to join, I will leave the link down below. Also, just as a note, when you do join, there are a bunch of questions that I do ask. I mean, by a bunch, I mean like 2 or 3, just so I get to know you guys a little bit better because I do want to keep the group safe and contained for everyone that is in the group. But anyways, this is the December pick for the book club, and this is What Lies Between Us by Naomi Madawira. This is a book by a Sri Lankan author with Sri Lankan characters in it. So we have a girl at the very beginning, and she and her mom experience something extremely traumatic in Sri Lanka, and as a result of that, they do immigrate to the States, to the San Francisco area. Here we go through a little bit of the girl's adulthood and the things that she experiences in her relationships, and also the things that she experiences moving from Sri Lanka to the States and the differences there and any similarities there as well. So all the things that I love in a book. I do know that this one talks a little bit about things like culture, about things like PTSD and friendships and relationships. I think we see this girl go through college and a little bit again of her adulthood. So I definitely cannot wait to get into this one in December. The next book is a book that I'm finishing up right now. This is the November pick for the Storytime with Squibbles book club. This is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. Not only is it the book club pick, but so many people have recommended it to me. Whenever I'm like on Twitter, this is something that I love to do. I'm like, I'm going through a bunch of mediocre books lately, which is, I mean, true, obviously, and I'm like, someone recommend me something, it's always the 5th season, so I definitely had to pick this one for November. It's a little bit challenging for me, I must say. I'm like halfway through it, and I just don't like world building. Like, I'm super lazy, and like when I read, I just want to be able to like sit down and have it be set somewhere that's not in a fantasy world, but it is worth the world building. Let me tell you, if you're not used to fantasy, I'm loving it so far. So basically, when the book opens, it's written in second person, and it's from, I guess, the point of view of a woman, and her son has just been murdered and her daughter has gone missing, and so she tries to figure out why and where, and there are all these kind of environmental changes going on because there is something that takes place called the 5th season, and we learn a little bit more about why and what happens every single time that happens, but it's basically really amped up environmental changes, and it's written from the point of view of 3 different women. There's most definitely a caste system, and within each caste there are little kind of like mini hierarchies there, which is really, really interesting. They talk about issues of power and privilege and how different people are viewed in society, and definitely how that impacts like this woman and the fact that her son has just been murdered and her daughter's gone missing. All of that kind of intertwines together. I don't know obviously exactly how because I am about halfway there, but yeah, that's the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. The next book I'm also currently in the middle of. It is for the Girl Sex 101 book club that I am in with Emma from Drinking by My Shelf and Emma from Emma Tobias, and this month we have picked a book called Girl Up by Laura Bates. This is a YA nonfiction book. It basically just kind of dispels some myths about feminism and is very empowering for teenage girls. It was written to be consumed by teenage girls, but I think it would be helpful for anyone to read. One of the issues that I do have with some of the literature out there that explains feminism is that it is not always intersectional, and sometimes it is not very intersectional, and this is a book that definitely tries in that regard. I wish it would do a little bit more. There is one chapter that, for example, is about body image. There is one chapter that is about boys who hit on girls via like misogynistic comments and sending pictures of their genitals in DMs, all that kind of nasty stuff, and different ways that girls can reply to and process that stuff, and different ways that girls can find support around that kind of stuff, which is all really great, but there definitely isn't very much intersection. It feels like it's information that everyone can use, but there are more issues at play. Like I mentioned in my last wrap up, gender doesn't exist in a vacuum, and I think that this book could do a little bit better acknowledging that. It's still all very good information, but I just wish it would do a little bit more of that. Alright, so the next couple books I have are buddy reads. 2 of them are buddy reads that I'm literally starting like today. The first one is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. If you guys are interested in why I have the soft cover copy of of the hardcover cover. This is the ARC version that I got at BEA in 2016. But this is basically a multi-generational novel that revolves around the same Korean family, specifically around most of the women in this Korean family. Apart from that, I don't know a ton about it. I do know that we start pretty far back in the past and we definitely move towards the present. I love multi-generational novels. One of my favorite books that I read in October was a multi-generational novel. It's called You Bring the Distant Near by Matali Perkins. If you haven't read that, definitely get on it. But I'm reading this one from Russell at Ink and Paper Blog and Emily from Possibly Literate. It was also shortlisted for the National Book Award this year. We just figured out who won that like a few days ago, I think, which is down there in my pile. But yeah, starting this one today too. Like I mentioned, we also have the National Book Award winner for 2017. I'm very, very happy that this one won. This is Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. She also wrote a book called Salvage the Bones, which is another fiction novel. She also wrote / edited some nonfiction as well, but I am buddy reading this one with Simon over at Savage Reads. We've been wanting to read something with each other for a little while, and this is the one that we picked. This is also one of the books that I hauled in my really big November haul, so if you guys haven't seen that, I will definitely put it up there in the card as well as in the down bar below. But basically this takes place in the south of the United States. We have our protagonist whose name is Jojo. He is biracial. He has a little sister named Kayla. Their mom Leonie struggles with drug addiction, so they live with their grandmother and their grandfather. And Leonie has just found out that their father has been released from prison, so she takes them in a car and they go off somewhere, and I don't know where, but I guess we will find out when I read this. And finally, the last book that I definitely want to get to before the end of the year is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. This is her debut collection of short stories. There is also kind of a longer novella in this one. It kind of all revolves around the violence that is inflicted upon women's bodies and the way that women view their bodies and the different ways that society sometimes objectifies women's bodies. And it's all kind of told with a fabulous / horror point of view incorporated in all of these short stories. The things that I know about it are there's one short story where a sales clerk in a mall finds something really nasty in a prom dress. The novella also kind of involves some Law and Order SVU type things, but with different horror elements and supernatural things incorporated in it. This sounds amazing, and I've heard nothing but praise for this one, so I'm really, really stoked to start reading this. So that is all the books on my end of the year TBR. Honestly, I usually get through like 40% of my TBRs, but this one might be the full home run. It might be 100% of the books that I read before the end of the year on this TBR. Please don't hold me to that. But anyways, if there are any books that you guys want to get to before the end of the year, please leave them down in the comments below. I would love to know if there's anything that you are super frantic to get to. Is that even the right word, frantic? I don't even know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.